So who will collapse first? Ukraine or EU at this rate?
I don't know. I mean, Ukraine is the country that is being bombed by by the Russians, not the EU. So I would suggest the Ukraine, but I think the refugee crisis will maybe break the EU before breaking the Ukraine. So
personally, I believe neither. The EU, if worse comes to worse, the EU just says, we don't care, we're out. We're not going to support Ukraine in any way, shape, or form. We're not going to let in any refugees whatsoever. And the US is basically going to keep the war going on their own because they have the military-industrial base to do that. And Ukraine is probably not going to collapse as long as the West or the US keeps some support and fed.
Sebastian, what do you think of Poland? Do you think Poland is closer to the EU than it is to the US, or vice versa?
Oh, good question. Personally, I believe Poland, if Poland wasn't in NATO or the EU, they'd probably already be at the Russian border together with Ukraine. I mean, they're more than happy to just go hoorah on the Russians if they get the choice.
You think?
Yes.
In 2016, the Polish
before
government passed a law
crisis comes
that
with
said
the
that
refugees.
the Ukrainian treatment of Polish in Volhynia was a genocide. Now, that's 2 years after the coup d'etat in 2014. You think that the Polish would rather fight Russia than take back their ancestral homelands as they see it. I don't necessarily agree with that. It's complex history. But this is the fact. The fact is that Polish politicians in 2016 were deliberately stoking anti-Ukrainian sentiment. Now, whether or not it's justified, I don't get into that debate. But do you really think that Poland isn't prepared to make a peace with Russia that creates an even bigger Poland?
No. Poland is
God bless your
the evil
sweetheart.
number one, in my opinion, for the Polish people is probably Russia.
Not for the Polish people, I think for the Polish politicians. Polish people are hard divided on this issue.
How you see a democracy. But personally, I believe Russia is enemy number one for the Polish state, if that's what you prefer.
But what if they could have both? What if they could hate the Russians and get their land back? What if they could be the liberators of Ukraine? Because I've seen the public opinion polls from Ukraine for the last 20 years. Those people want to be in Europe. They're sick of the poverty and the corruption. They would do anything to get into Europe. Even the ones that are ethnically Russian, right, want to join Europe and not Russia. If Poland was the liberator, if Poland said, we will give you all European citizenship, if that's the deal, right, I don't think there might be 3 people in Ukraine who wouldn't snatch that.
And Toby, they already do this or not? They already try to implement Polish government into Ukraine. Something I think I've heard of. I don't have like 100% information on this, but I think they're already starting to do the quote-unquote liberation things. Because you see, if you get like millions of refugees, where do you put them? You can't put everyone like into Poland. They need at some point to pull them back into at least into Western Ukraine. So I think they're preparing for this.
So
maybe I'm wrong, but
that's the deal on the table. Poland protects and liberates the Ukrainians. The Russians protect and liberate the Russians. The Hungarians get their bit back. Romania don't get anything because no one likes them and they're poor. Right? But maybe they get Moldova because no one wants it, even though it's a nice place. That's where I see the peace being made, right? Like if peace is going to come. Because let's not forget, Ukraine was a project of the Soviet Union.
But that's like what
as we see it now, was created by the Soviet Union. Who really cares what the Soviet Union did, right? Like who is going to die on that hill to preserve a project of the Soviet Union? I maybe I'm wrong. I'm not Eastern European. I'm married to an Eastern European, a Lithuanian, but I don't see it. I don't see anybody who's that really heavily invested in Ukraine. Not really. I mean, it's the big thing now, right? Yeah, but it wasn't a little while ago.